Baseliner Cassandra requests permission to land. We carry passengers for the
schedule.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Verbstar. At each of Verbstar's 5 stations, we celebrate the fact that English is now spoken and written throughout the galaxy. The verb is our theme, that most interesting of words. But even as we celebrate the verb with this wonderful Verbstar, let us also credit other words we use for communication. To make a sentence that tells a complete thought, we need not only a verb, but also a noun. But though we need and value the noun, this time our star, our word of the hour, is the verb. Now, to reveal all the intriguing intricacies of the verb, we bring you the fascinating world of Verbstar.
This is Verbstar, Station 1.
Here you will receive your first glimpse into the mysteries of the verb.
The fascinating, aggravating verb. And why are verbs so special? Verbs change.
Some words stay the same.
Not verbs. Verbs change.
Do you like to play?
Play is a wonderful verb.
There it is, play. But play won't stay just play.
You'll see plays, you'll see playing, and played.
You see, it changes its endings.
And a verb can change in other ways. Once in a while, for a special meaning, a verb insists on some helpers.
You may see will play, has played, had played, or has been playing.
You think play is mean and confusing? Not at all. Play is a regular verb. You can count on all regular verbs to change in the same way.
But there are a few verbs that are really toughies.
Be. There's a wild one, the worst of the lot.
Just look at what be does. Out of nowhere, it just freaks out with forms we never could expect.
Be, am, are, is, was, were, has been. These are all forms of be.
Nothing regular about verbs like these.
Irregular. Very irregular, but fascinating.
Aggravating. What can you do with verbs like these?
I'd surprise them, memorize them.
Verbs change.
Okay, they know that now. As we move on, they'll find out how.
Away with you to Station 2.
Another mystery, eh, Watson?
Quite right, Holmes. The mystery of the S-form verbs.
I've heard of that case. The verbs change, eh? And no one knows exactly why.
Or who does it?
That's it, Watson. That's it. It's who does it.
I don't follow you.
It's elementary, my dear Watson. A verb describes what happens, an action, and from time to time, the verb mysteriously changes. But the mystery is solved. The verb changes according to who did the action the verb describes.
You may have something there.
Of course. We can have the audience help us prove it, too. First, we list our suspects. Who can do the act?
I can.
Right.
You, only you.
Aha.
John can.
Mary can.
He can.
She can.
It can.
Yes, yes, yes.
We can.
You can, all of you.
They can.
Yes, indeed. Each one of these is a very likely subject.
Well said.
We have identified all of those who might do the action the verb names. With which of these subjects do we find the S form? Perhaps if we test each subject with a verb like tell, we shall be able to solve the mystery of the S form.
You're close to a solution, Holmes.
Not a clue with we, not with the plural you, not they. No. We're drawing near. Aha. It's here, with he, with she, and it. We see the change revealed. Here it is. We find the S.
Bravo! Bravo!
Here at Verbstar Station 2, we have brought you to the famous mystery of the S-form verbs, a case in which the famous Detective Holmes demonstrated that regular verbs take the S form when the subject is he, she, or it, or any single person or thing. We hope you enjoyed sharing the solution of the S-form mystery. We'll move ahead now to Verbstar Station 3.
What do you do?
I turn.
It turns.
You're right. You use the S.
Look, it hasn't stopped. We need a form that means it turns, it turns, it turns, it turns.
Since verbs can change their endings, how about turn with ing? Turning.
It turning? It turning? That sounds terrible.
Turning is pretty good. Maybe it just needs a helper.
I know some words that would make perfect helpers. I am turning. You are turning. It is turning. Well, it was turning. You see, we needed a helper for ing.
Ladies and gentlemen, from this modest beginning, helping verbs came to have an important job, working together with the main verb. Together, they are complete verbs with exact meaning.
Tonight, here at Station 3 on Verbstar, we want you to meet these important helpers.
Oh, yes. Some of them feel they should be called auxiliary verbs, but others are perfectly happy to be called helping verbs, because really, they help the main verb.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, our important helpers seen at work as part of a complete verb. Am turning, is turning, are turning, was turning, were turning. You won't remember all their names this time, of course, but they will be very pleased if you recognize them when you see them. Has turned, have turned, had turned. Have been turning, has been turning, will have been turning. Will turn, can turn, must turn, might turn, would turn, should turn. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue on to Station 5. Remember that where you have action, you will have verbs and helping verbs. And here on Verbstar, you had a chance to meet them.
Verbs change. That is becoming plain to see. What do? I talk. And you talk.
John talks.
He talks.
Mary talks.
She talks.
Even it talks.
Small change the S form. A different ending to agree with a particular subject.
Another different ending, a change to I am talking, gives a little different meaning to what is happening now.
Suppose I want to tell you about something that has already happened. Another little ending change, ed, and a verb gives a look at the past.
Clever, these verbs. Just add ed and you speak of the past.
Now, how about the other way? Suppose we want to plan ahead. Not a change, but a helper, and we can talk about the future.
Verbs change. I used to think it was a bother, but verb changes let me talk in whichever direction I want.
I found another way to use helpers. They help you talk now about something that has already happened.
Now you've looked both ways. It's the end of the show.
Look ahead again. It's time to go to Verbstar Station 5.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Verbstar Station 5. With us tonight is Dr. Ernest Verbose, verbologist,
who will discuss current problems in verbal communications. Welcome, Dr. Verbose.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Dr. Verbose, throughout the galaxy, we have had continuing reports of trouble with certain verbs.
Yes.
These troublesome verbs simply refuse to conform to normal standards of verb behavior. Doctor, are these simply bad verbs? How are we to deal with them?
I have given this matter much thought. I will say this. There is no such thing as a bad verb.
But doctor, with a regular verb, we know how it will change. The S form, ed for the past, the ing, and they use the helpers. But don't we have a right to expect that all verbs should make the same changes?
All of us would like that. Learning English would be easier, but many of these words had very unusual childhoods. They just grew the way they are, and they are stuck that way. Irregular.
Oh, for example?
Most irregular is be. Just look at this. All these are forms of be. Now, that is very irregular.
That's almost freaky.
Those may be freaky forms, but remember, there's no such thing as a bad verb. These verbs are irregular, but they work. They do the job. Be here is a very hard-working verb.
That is true. They do work. But now, let's have a look at this machine you have invented to help deal with the irregular verb situation. How does it work?
Very simply. You give the machine a word that you suspect has irregular forms. I give it now the word go. Automatically, this wonderful machine shows you the freaky forms. The irregular forms of the verb.
Oh, amazing.
Notice that here we have a slightly irregular form, and E must be added before the regular S. Sue went, a totally irregular form, and Ray had gone. Gone is another irregular form of go. In this small screen, the machine gives right way, wrong way information. You can see went is never used with a helper. It's not Ray had went, it's Ray had gone. Another irregular form of go.
Oh, that's wonderful. Would anyone in the audience like to check a verb with the doctor's machine? Yes, sir, in the last row.
Do.
Very well. And of course, it is irregular. We have the E added to the S form. Did for the simple past. And with the helping verb, it's had done. The screen shows you must have the helper. Never he done it, but he has done it. If you don't want to use a helper, just say, he did it.
How about C?
I think that's a good prospect. Yes, indeed. Here in the past, we have Sue saw, and with the helper, the form is seen. In the right-wrong screen, we see that seen has to have a helper. She has seen. Without the helper, say, she saw.
We're running a bit short of time, Doctor. Perhaps just one more.
Have.
Good. The irregular forms of have are has and had. And down here with the helper, we have an unusual thing. This verb is helping itself.
We are really getting quite short of time, Doctor.
Just one more thing I want to point out. For example, the verb give. Two irregular forms, gave and given. The simple past and the form using the helper. These are the two places where most irregular verbs are irregular. Just look. Eat. He ate and has eaten. Write. Irregular. With wrote and had written. Take, irregular. Took and has taken. Just remember, be careful of the past and be careful with the helper. And before I go, two verbs with unusual irregularities. The verb come, the simple past is came. But here's the big surprise. With the helper, you use the basic form of the verb. John has come. Now, look at run. The simple past is ran. But like come, it is used with a helper in its basic form, run. John has run. As the screen shows, not has ran or had ran, but run. And now, as I seem to have used up my time, I too must run.
Verbs change. Yes, sir, they're shifty. A verb is inclined to change at times to fit the subject or suit the time. A regular verb will change its end to s, ed, or ing. It will work with a helper or even two to name the action you want it to. That is a regular verb. Irregular verbs are the other kind.
They amaze the eyes and boggle the mind, but they do their work.
They change in ways you don't expect.
They change.
Strange.
Fascinating.
Aggravating.
They have no rule to learn about. So if they get you down and out,
Just surprise them. Memorize them. The Verbstar show will stand by for recycling if desired.